Former training officer. No, I'm kidding. It's a field training officer. It's an officer in charge of training the new hires as well as the badged officers. Pretty much what I said before, just making sure that the unbadged and badged officers are ready to be able to move up and make sure that they're doing their job properly and have the proper training. I just like to see everybody be able to excel, and being able to make sure that certain issues are nipped in the bud as soon as they come out. And obviously, I hold myself to a certain standard, and I would hold everybody else to that standard as well. Using their macros properly. Really just taking out as many unbadged and badge officers as I can, and making sure that they're watching me do the proper, um, doing the proper macros, and then for officers specifically, making sure if I am taking them out, um, I mean, I'm gonna take. I don't know if anybody else is doing it, but I'm gonna take my training as far as with badge officers, pretty much throwing them in the deep end, making sure that they're able to do it under pressure, and giving them as much experience with putting those macros up as possible. Taser, taser, taser is anytime you are about to use your taser. That also kind of boils down into breaking the window to tase them to pull them out. Both of them go hand to hand, but specifically the pulling them out of the vehicle part. That's if it can be multiple things. Either the person's refusing to get out of the vehicle, or they are VDMing people, and you have to tase them in order for them to stop. Um, and then what was the second one you said? The one after taser, taser. What was the second one? No, what I was saying, what was the second macro that you were saying after taser, taser? Because I know you said that one and then pulling them out of the vehicle. Oh, so you do their Miranda rights after they are in handcuffs if you do plan on charging them. There is the other macro where they are being handcuffed, but they are not being arrested. But anytime that you are arresting somebody, the second you put them in handcuffs, you need to read them their rights. I got you. So anytime a civilian is requesting a supervisor, first off, I mean, you have to definitely check to see what supervisor is online. And then at that point, depending on where you are, either bring that civilian to the supervisor or throw up the macros to request a supervisor. Ask for permission from the suspect if they will allow me to pat them down. From that point, assuming that they say yes, pat them down with the back of the hand very carefully, making sure that you are not touching certain areas that they do not want to be touched in, and lock it to make sure that everyone knows that that's what was the situation. I'm confused by the question. Are you asking what specific or whether it's a civil or administrative? Can you could you word the question differently? I'm so confused on that last part. I got you. Well, in that case, I mean, always the body camera is going to be going. But as far as a civilian talking back during while you are giving violations, you can always give them, I believe it's a 2.6, um, which is pretty much talking back to an officer, insulting a peace officer. I'm assuming they're not shooting at me, if they're just shooting at each other. From what I've seen and from my experience, if they're not shooting at me necessarily, I can't really do anything about it. But if I am with a new officer, obviously, assuming that they are unbadged, definitely call it in and make sure that they are not shooting at us and give the location of the area and then head back to PD depending on what the situation ends up being. When we say rookie officer, do we mean unbadged? I got you. Well, obviously, if they're unbadged, immediately tell them to get back in the vehicle because unbadged officers can't be interacting in the public no matter the circumstance. If they are badged, I would still tell them the same thing to come back because the more important person is the person who is actually driving the vehicle, because that's the specific person that we are pulling over. But then at that point, call it in that we do have a runner during the situation, and depending on how far in during the traffic stop we are, like so, if we did run the name and it came back clean, then at that point we would go after the second suspect. I got you. just to keep it away, not to have the weapon out. So, in that sense, if you are in an active shootout or die on a scene, you cannot go back to the scene within 15 minutes unless backup is called. You say robbing the gas station? At that point, you would call up that you need immediate assistance, and then put in the Flobby chat that there is a robbery in progress. I'm not sure if there is a macro for that. Then I wasn't sent that macro specifically, but at that point, definitely call for backup and give location. So, if what macros do you use if um, my bad, if the new officer isn't listening to higher ups? Once again, I mean, if there's a specific macro for that, I didn't get sent it, but in that situation, I would tell them to um, report back to PDG immediately, and if if there isn't a radio call back, or if they refuse to report back to PDG, then I would put a bolo out for that officer. You would contact the moderator and let them know. Because I'm not sure which RP violation it is, but I do know that there is an RP violation in that scenario. I got you. Hey, were there certain macros for those questions you asked me? Like, were there specific macros? Because if there was and I don't have them and I need them, no, I got you. You're good.